Today, I'm going to explain a horror mystery movie called Mayhem. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie begins as we learn about the ID7, or Red Eye virus, which is rapidly spreading worldwide. The virus does not kill its host, but rather infects neural pathways, causing them to act out their darkest impulses, like the desire to kill. One of the first Red Eye carriers was Neville Reed, who committed the first known murder while infected with the virus. His lawyers, however, were able to prove his innocence, arguing that one is not responsible for their actions while under the influence of ID7. Next, we meet our protagonist, Derek Cho, who is a lawyer at a company called TSC. He began as a humble employee and worked tirelessly to achieve levels of success that his family had never seen. Despite his efforts, he was never rewarded until he discovered a loophole in Neville's case and successfully secured his acquittal for murder. This victory finally resulted in a significant promotion and a coveted corner office. However, as he continued climbing the corporate ladder, he gradually began to lose his inner values. One morning, when Derek arrives at his office, he meets with a borrower named Melanie, who is facing eviction due to late payments. She pleads for 2 more months, but Derek tells her he doesn't have the authority to make that decision, as the bank is only a client of their company. He also reveals that this decision was made by Irene Smith, one of the TSC's partners whom he is unable to oppose. Derek asks the woman to leave, but she refuses to budge without meeting Irene. With no other choice, he calls security, who forcefully escorts Melanie away from there. Next, Derek takes a sip of water, not realizing it contains some ID7 virus particles. He is then visited by the receptionist, who says that he will be held accountable for a mistake involving one of their most important clients, Vandacor. Derek is shocked upon hearing this, as he has never handled any cases for Vandacor before. Meanwhile, we see the virus begin to spread throughout the office as people start developing red eyes. In the next scene, Derek heads to the upper floor and confronts his superior, Kara Powell. He asks about the Vandacor situation and why he is being blamed for something he did not do, but Kara provides evidence that the case was assigned to him, and it becomes clear that she had him set up by forging documents. It turns out she made a big blunder on a case and is now trying to use Derek as a scapegoat. Kara then asks him to take responsibility and offers him a large sum of money if he agrees. However, Derek declines the offer and demands that they report the situation to their boss. They both then decide to go upstairs to the director's penthouse and plead their cases. In the elevator, Kara uses her key card to access the upper floor, as only she has permission to enter that area. When they arrive, Derek informs the CEO, John Towers, that Kara falsified some documents and is putting blame on him for something he didn't do. However, the boss doesn't seem to care. "You're a little peon bitch," and tells him to leave, stating he needs to speak with Kara alone. Upon hearing this, Derek feels hopeless, but has no choice but to leave. He then stops by his friend Ewan's office and begins complaining about Kara. Ewan is outraged that he would go directly to the CEO without a proper strategy. He advises Derek to call Kara and try to make a deal, but the latter reveals that she had already offered him a deal, which he turned down. At this point, Kara shows up and informs Derek that he has been fired. He can now go pack his belongings and get the hell out of here. A shocked Derek states that he will take the case to the board of directors, but Kara just mocks him as she rubs her red eyes. Meanwhile, John Towers attends a meeting with his 9 partners and proposes that Derek be fired for his mistake in the Vandacor case. All of the partners unanimously vote in favor of this, after which the head of human resources, Lester McGill, takes over.
Yay! It's Lester time!
Lester then visits Derek's office and requests that he sign some documents to receive his severance pay. The latter goes through the documents and comes across a statement in which he admits full responsibility for the mistake. Derek realizes that signing this will disbar him and prevent him from working for a reputable company in the future. Desperate, he pleads with Lester for help, knowing that the board members listen to him. However, Lester refuses to get involved, claiming that it is none of his business. Derek still refuses to sign, so a guard shows up to escort him out of the building. At this moment, a SWAT team shows up outside and quarantines the entire building. This means that Derek can't leave, and neither can anyone else. The head agent then video calls John's meeting office to inform him that the ID7 virus has been detected in the building. Therefore, an antidote has been released into the building's ventilation system, which should eliminate all traces of the virus within 8 hours. The agent further announces that no one is permitted to leave, and the building is now officially quarantined. Everyone is advised to stay calm, as the infected individuals will exhibit violent behavior and drastic mood swings. Meanwhile, inside the building, all the employees begin to act aggressively and randomly attack each other. Derek then decides to take advantage of the situation and visit the penthouse floor to meet with the board of directors. However, as soon as he enters the elevator, he is dragged outside by security officers. The security head, Colton, then begins brutally beating him up. It turns out John sent the security team because he suspected Derek was coming to kill him. The lawyer tries to explain that he just wanted to beg for his job back, but Colton doesn't believe him. At this moment, Ewan bursts onto the floor and tries to help his friend, but unfortunately, Colton shoves him against a wall, and his head is impaled on a nail, killing him instantly. Derek is devastated by the turn of events, but before he can do anything, Colton knocks him out with brass knuckles. Sometime later, he wakes up in his storeroom and notices that Melanie is also there. She immediately smacks him in the face.
Smack.
And the lawyer responds with his own blow. After a brief scuffle, Derek suddenly suggests they join forces and head to the penthouse together. He claims that she will find Irene Smith there, the woman who evicted her. Melanie initially refuses to trust him, but after careful consideration, she decides to take the chance. Next, Derek gets to work and improvises a makeshift telephone using a rope, a board, and a phone. He then contacts Vandecor's director and also includes John in the conference call. During the call, Derek exposes the truth about how his company mishandled Vandecor's case, costing the client millions of dollars. He also describes how his superiors refused to accept responsibility and instead used him as a scapegoat to cover it up. After hearing all of this, the director of Vandecor becomes enraged and immediately terminates the partnership with TSC. He tears down the contract paper during the video call before finally hanging up. This infuriates John, so he orders a group of security officers to kill Derek immediately. However, our hero has already anticipated this beforehand. As soon as the guards enter the storeroom, Melanie distracts them and Derek knocks them out. The duo then arms themselves with various tools as makeshift weapons and begins their journey upstairs. Derek explains to Melanie that they can only get into the penthouse with a special key card because the elevator operator is not giving out codes. Their plan requires them to first go to
Lester.
and take his key card to reach Kara's floor. They will then need to obtain her key card, which will finally allow them access to the penthouse. Soon enough, the duo reaches the 6th floor, and Melanie tries to shoot Lester with a nail gun. He deflects the attack and quickly locks himself inside his office, but an enraged Derek kicks down the door. The duo then demands that Lester turn over his key card, and he seemingly obliges. But seconds later, he pulls out a pair of scissors from his pocket and stabs Derek in the hand. He then turns his attention to Melanie and tries to kill her. It appears that Lester's about to succeed, but at the last moment she grabs a circular saw and tears through his body. Before heading upstairs, Derek sends John a video of Lester's dead body and warns him that he'll be next. This terrifies the boss, so he immediately calls Kara to inform her that Derek is on his way to her office. He urges her to destroy her keycard to prevent him from reaching the penthouse. Kara initially refuses, as it is her only trump card, but when he offers to make her a partner, she readily accepts. However, as she hangs up the phone, she starts to have second thoughts. She then gives the keycard to her assistant Meg and instructs her to hide it somewhere without telling her the location. In the meantime, John sends out a message to all staff and offers $450,000 to anyone who can kill Derek. Not long after, the duo arrives at Kara's floor, where she has already assembled a team of employees to protect her. Kara and Meg then run away, while Derek and Melanie start fighting the employees. After a long and bloody battle, the duo manages to eliminate all of the employees. They then enter Kara's office and demand the key card, which she refuses to give at first. However, when Derek moves closer to kill her, she has no choice but to comply. Kara then summons Meg and asks her to give her back the key card. The assistant agrees, but soon reveals a burnt piece of plastic, which shocks everyone. Meg explains that the upper levels had already suspected Kara would betray them, so they offered her a promotion in exchange for destroying the key card. This revelation sparks a heated argument between the two women, which ultimately ends when Meg kills Kara with a pair of scissors. The scissors in this place are OP. Now that Kara and her key card are gone, the two approach the IT guy Ray and request his help in hacking Irene Smith's computer. Ray happily agrees and sends a virus to the old woman, who downloads it without suspicion. The virus quickly deletes all of her computer's data, but Ray manages to save a backup before it is erased. After this, Irene calls Ray, but it is answered by Derek, who informs her that her computer has been hacked. He demands that she come downstairs to hand over her keycard if she wants her data back. Worried, Irene approaches John and informs him that she's going downstairs. He obviously opposes this, but she reassures him that she has a plan. Soon, Irene meets the duo in a conference room where she tries to search for a hidden working gun under the table. However, it turns out that Derek has already found the gun. Irene then hands over her keycard and requests a copy of her hard drive, but Melanie insists that she also sign her mortgage. In response, the old woman laughs and states that even if she signs it now, she can later claim she was under the influence of the virus to have it invalidated. Upon hearing this, Melanie gets so angry that she smashes the laptop containing all of Irene's data. She also asks Derek to leave, saying she will deal with the old woman alone. However, as Derek tries to leave, he is ambushed by Colton, who had been waiting just outside the door. Meanwhile, inside the room, the two women engage in a heated fight, with Melanie eventually gaining the upper hand. She is about to kill Irene when the latter suddenly reveals that the keycard is useless without an access code. On the other hand, Colton takes out a pepper spray canister and prepares to burn Derek's eyes. However, our hero collects the liquid in his mouth and spits it directly into Colton's face, causing the man to scream in pain and retreat. After this, Derek demands the access code from Irene, but she offers to give it only if he hands over Melanie. The woman is furious at Melanie for destroying all her data and wants revenge. With only 25 minutes left in the quarantine, Derek makes the tough decision to betray his new friend. He then immediately punches Melanie and ties her to a chair. She accuses him of being a traitor and curses at him, but he simply kisses her before leaving. Next, Derek heads to the elevator with Irene, who enters the access code for the penthouse. However, before the doors close, he shows her some bolts in his hand, which belonged to the chair Melanie was tied to. It turns out that he loosened them while tying her up earlier. With this, Melanie easily frees herself and kills Irene with a hammer, while Derek listens to the commotion with amusement. Moments later, Derek finally arrives at the penthouse, where the board is waiting for him with champagne and applause. They commend his efforts, and John offers him a partnership, which is more than Derek ever dreamt of in his life. However, he refuses the offer, which leads to an intense fight between him and the CEO. After a long and brutal battle, Derek asks the board members if they want him to kill John, and they unanimously vote in favor. With this, the lawyer throws his boss over the railing to his death, just as the quarantine is lifted. After the chaos subsides, Derek finally approaches the 8 board members and explains his situation. They offer him the position of the next CEO, which he accepts without hesitation. As his first task, he extends Melanie's loan, after which he immediately informs the board that he is quitting. In the final scene, a few days have passed, and the CDC announces that they have finally developed a vaccine after what happened at TSC. We then see Derek and Melanie smiling at each other while painting peacefully in an art class, implying that they are together now, and seemingly both broke and unemployed.